guys, welcome to Off the Reservation, a podcast that when you're here, you're family. Now, pass the breadsticks. I'm Mal.
I'm El.
And I'm the son of Picasso.
Pass the biscuits, Pappy O'Daniels. That flower hour.
That flower hour, you know. I think that was actually an excellent movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
It was a great movie. Do you remember that year that we went to, what was it, the church Halloween festival?
Oh, yeah. What do they call it? The
church? Soggy Bottom Boys.
What is it? Church, like all the churches.
Harvest Festival.
Harvest Fest, yeah, because you know, Halloween is evil.
Harvest time.
It's
of the devil. The devil.
Don't mess with the devil, buddy. Ah. But yeah, no, we had a Harvest Fest at our church when we were younger,
which is hilarious because like we go to the church, we get candy, and we hang out and we
celebrate
stuff.
Everything
that's Halloween, people.
Quote unquote Halloween. Yeah,
that's like, Halloween.
Whereas like
taking it back.
Whereas like normal like Halloween activities is you go door to door and get candy from people.
Yeah, we just cut out the middleman.
Like honestly, I feel like we had more fun, you know. Versus
I think it was more fun to be. I don't know. I never went in Albuquerque. You didn't really go trick or treating, you know. Like,
I mean, you never ate the candy, but that's because
there was always a scare of like someone
putting razor blades
in the water hole. You know, it's like, yeah, someone's putting razor blade. Yeah, I remember that being like watching the news and be like, okay, if you've got young kids going out trick or treating this Halloween, be on the lookout. There are razor blades in the candy, and my parents are like, you're gonna have to check your pieces of candy when you get back.
I went to the church. Who's gonna poison my candy at church?
Well, I remember we were always like, if we're gonna go trick or treating, let's go to the nice neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know, that neighborhood where they give out the full size candy bars,
which is legitimate because honestly, you think about it, like Albuquerque, there is a schism between like upper class and lower class homes, and you know, to try to deny that I think would do injustice to Albuquerque. I mean, there's places where you can go and have like an upscale neighborhood and then go one street over and have, you know, subsidized housing.
Yeah.
And there's like, you know, housing, and you know, I feel like that's, you know, we all live together here. And I think that's the special thing about Albuquerque is like it's almost like we are all family. We all experience the same things. We all have to walk past the creepy guy in the corner giving you the eye.
All I know is whoever was giving out fruit on Halloween, what happened to you? Who hurt you?
Who hurt you as a child?
Which is hilarious because nowadays I'm like, man, if someone gave me fruit for Halloween, I
could really use an apple.
I need some vitamin A and vitamin C. And
I remember we used to give out, well, actually it was for Christmas, but at the church they used to give out, I remember making the brown bags of that like classic like hard candy.
Hard candy.
What is that?
Christmas?
The strawberry like candies with like.
That was Miss Ruby.
Yeah.
Miss Ruby like those.
And they'd have like mixed, like you'd have like nuts and fruit and a little bit of candy.
See, you know, I didn't know that, but I heard that was like an Indian thing to do. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like I saw like a Facebook post and it was like, you're not Indian unless you gave these out at like Christmas time.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, I guess I'm Indian.
I must be Indian.
Well, you're giving out what? You got your sugars, you got your proteins, you got your fruits, your fiber, got all the fiber you need in there.
Yeah.
You're set for the winter.
But
going back
to the Harvest Fest. That one year I remember you it was just you, I think, right?
No, I thought it was
three of us?
you and Nathan, our cousin Nathan.
What was it?
Yeah, I thought we all jumped up on stage.
Well, there was a costume contest. You remember?
Yeah.
We did the Man of Constant Sorrow from.
You guys lip synced.
Yeah, Malachi was like the George Clooney. He had like the old timey hat. You know, and the overalls. And he was up there dancing,
which was hilarious because we stole the beards from
the wise men.
Yeah, the wise men.
The Christmas play. Yeah, the Christmas play, the wise men.
That's funny.
We always play the wise men during Christmas time, or it was the shepherds.
It was the shepherds.
Yeah.
We did it all. I mean, it was,
no. You had to be flexible. You had to really be a performer.
Yeah. You had to be able to
2 or 3 rolls a night.
Yeah.
Curtain call demanding. And those unions, I swear.
Those matinees were the best, though.
Wait, didn't we do that once? One year we did the whole Christmas play like twice in a day, and it was because we had
double header.
Yeah, we had another church come in and they watched us do it, and I don't think they gave us anything, but we just like advertised that we were doing it. We did it like 2 or 3 times in a day. I'm like, how goofy is that? Like nobody goes to see a child's play.
Those are the yeah. Oh, never mind.
No, go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know. You go to church so many times, you get burnt out like that, and I don't know.
Does anyone even do that anymore?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Is that a thing?
They do some form of it. Most places have like a youth group where the kids do like TikTok dances or something. I don't know.
TikTok church.
Yeah, I don't know. It's different. It's not quite the same. But I'm sure there are churches that still do that. Well, we were like, our church was like in like the native circuit of churches.
Yeah.
So it was
See, it was interesting because I felt like our church was, kind of a church that we went to, but it was more of a community center. There was just a lot of families there.
It was very community oriented, yeah.
Like there was like a good stretch where like people would all have dinner there and eat together.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like, you wanted to feed people, to be a part of, community. Like, especially being inner city natives, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of us, so.
Yeah, I noticed that. Well, because, we were, branded as ourselves as like, an Indian church, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was interesting that there were like quite a few like natives that would come through town and found us.
Yeah.
And they were like, we were happy to go to a church where, we could meet other natives, it wasn't like,
It seemed like it was a good place for you to network. And I mean, I know nowadays, like even with my normal everyday job, like I've, even though I may not go back as much as I used to, my parents will be like, hey, so-and-so is looking for a job. Could you suggest them to your work? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And I think it was really cool because after a while they would come in and they'd be like, oh, my aunt so-and-so who used to go to this church, suggested that I come here and meet you guys. And it wasn't necessarily always like, I need Jesus.
Yeah,
help
like it
me
wasn't
out.
religious.
It was more of like, I need a place to stay. Can you guys find a place for me to stay?
Yeah.
And I remember like kids who were trying to get into UNM and had to go to orientation or something. They'd be like, because it's so close to UNM, they'd like come in and spend the night to go through orientation. Because nobody, like, who has the money to be able to stay in a hotel for one night and then just leave, So they put up a community or a group of kids going to UNM and, being that hub. And, over time, like a lot of the native churches have kind of gone away. But I think that just speaks to the fact that we're all so interrelated, so connected to one another that we have a place to go.
Well, when we talk about family in regards to Native American culture, like family is huge. It's a core piece of the culture.
Yeah.
And when you say my family, it's not just like, oh, my parents and my siblings. It's like, no, my parents, my uncles, my aunts, their kids,
their wives and brothers.
Yeah. And it's just like you include everybody. Like I think I saw something where it was like, I don't know, maybe you posted it. It was like, there's no distant cousins or someone.
There's no second or third cousins.
When I was growing up, I don't know, like it's kind of like times have changed, but when I was growing up, like you didn't have cousins, they were your brothers. You didn't have sister, like you didn't have like cousins who were girls, they were your sisters. Like, you were raised to have each other's back like that, like how brothers and sisters.
Hey, there ain't no snitching in our family.
And it's kind of funny you bring that up because my first, like, I guess real memory of like Native family happened at what they call the Quarterly Indian Fellowship, like back in like 1986 or something like that, right?
I think I've been to a couple of
those. We were like all out in Tajali, right? And there was like maybe 6 or 7 Native churches there. And like, you know how Native churches are, like they love to talk. And like they were like going, just talking for hours. So me and your uncle, who's just a little bit older than me, went outside to go play, right? And then especially in Native families, they're so big that like you could have an uncle who's like just like your same age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we were playing cars and trucks, and then these other guys came by and they were picking on us, and they were older than us. And so I was just, I just kind of took it. I was a little kid. Well, my uncle was like, this isn't just going to happen, right? So like these kids started to get up.
And he's only like 2 years older than you.
Yeah. And like he stood up and he picked a rock up and he chucked the rock at the kid, right? And like the kid's standing there like talking trash to us, and he hits him in the head and the kid goes down, boom, right? And like everybody, like he instantly heard the kid scream, and like everybody comes running out of the church. And like the kid has blood coming from his head, and like people were like, what happened? What did you do? What did you do? And he looks at them and he goes, your uncle looks at them and he goes, he was messing with my nephew. You don't mess with my family. And like as a little kid, I remember thinking like, yep, that's what you do for family. You know what I mean? And that whole like interaction stuck with me my whole life. Like, it doesn't matter what they do, what your family does. Like I go to blows for family. Like I'll draw blood for family. You know what I mean? So that was one of my first interactions with like, Native family values.
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't know. That's like I've heard like, you hear stories about other people being like, oh yeah, my uncle, he's having a hard time in Albuquerque, and they'll be like, oh, well, get him in contact with so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. Or like somebody has car trouble somewhere and they'll be like, oh, I got family out that way. You go ahead and have them contact them and they'll help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I guess, that was my first interaction with Native family. And like, I always held myself to that standard. And I guess it's been kind of hard over the years to not have family like reciprocate that type of like level of I got your back. You know what I mean?
Well, see,
where I had to realize like that's just me as a person. Like,
see, I don't know if I told this story before, but so in high school, like, being from a Christian family, the whole idea of like being goth or anything like that was like, against the family. But that's what I wanted to do. That's where I wanted to go, and I wanted to be goth. And so I ended up wearing trip pants at school. And, I was trying to go into that area, but I wasn't, my parents didn't know, like our parents didn't know that I was doing that. And so, and I was wearing like, coloring my nails black and wearing black eyeliner and everything. And so one day,
just went full goth with it.
I tried.
It's not a phase, Mom.
But I'm trying to like do it under the radar.
Yeah.
And so then,
wait. So describe the pants though for people who maybe aren't.
So they were
describe the pants.
they were black because that's a standard. It had to be black, and they were just like ginormous. So they had like, I don't know, like more fabric than you are a human.
Definitely not eco-friendly.
Not eco-friendly. Yeah. And so,
more
and then they have
you are a human.
And then like, they were like huge. So like, I guess it was around the time when people were shoplifting, so they'd stuff stuff into their pants, and it would be easier to get away with it. I don't know. But I mean, I couldn't do any of that. I was too much of like an honest person. And plus I didn't go anywhere or do anything or, whatnot. Anyways. And so, and they had like a, like blue or red piping on them, the traditional goth, like ginormous trip pants. Like a Trip is a brand. You look it up, you'll find it. But they had like the chains and everything that hang off of them. And so I wore them. I think I had borrowed them from one of my friends, and I wore them for like, I don't know, like half the day, took them off, gave them back to my friend, and then suddenly I get home and my mom's like, so your aunt had something interesting to say. And I was like, what? And by that time, I had scrubbed off the black on my fingernails. I had wiped off the black eyeliner and, did all of that. And she was like, so one of your cousins saw that you were wearing big black pants. And I was like, who snitched, man? What the heck? Like, and so I'm all upset because I'm like, hey man, this is my life journey. You can't dictate it, even though I'm still trying to hide it from my parents. But I'm like, this is me. Like, I'm trying to like experiment and like do crazy things.
Like experiment before you have repercussions when you're an adult.
Yeah.
40-year-old man wearing trip pants. You're like, no, bro, don't do those.
That's what, and see, that's where I'm at now in my life. I'm like, I go and I bought like trip pants, but I was like, I can't wear these things, and they're like $30-$40 pants.
I missed my window.
I missed my window.
It's like I missed it. Yeah, like, do you want to be that dude? I mean, like, there's some people.
Let your kids experiment like that when it's the right age.
When it's appropriate, because then you can look back at it and be like, oh man, that was so bad.
Yeah.
Like there's times when like I'm sure like I never experimented with hairstyles, but like we have all like had hairstyles that we've been like, this is so cool, I'm gonna be really cool, and then all of a sudden you're like 10 years or later you're like, I had frosted tips. What the heck?
Man, don't even bring that up.
It was the 90s, early 2000s. Everyone was doing it. Oh man. I liked how you just described that though. It's like that's how your mom tries to get you though. You know what I mean? Not your mom, but just moms in general. They're like, they want you to come out and confess whatever it is you do. So I heard something. You're like,
oh, it's horrible. My son is just like me. He'll like die with a lie. He'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, name, rank, and serial number. I'm like, dude, I just saw you. I don't know what you're talking about, Dad.
That wasn't me.
That wasn't me.
No, that wasn't me.
He holds true so far to where, like, after a while, I'm like, I don't think you did.
It's got a real George Costanza here.
Dude, it's snitches get stitches. Like, that's the way it is. Like,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of secrets that I've like heard that I've been like, if I remember this and hold on to it, I'm gonna end up spilling it. So I need to like lock it away, forget it as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And so far I feel like I've been successful. I don't think I've given away any secrets.
Hey guys, we just want to say thanks for listening, and remember to rate, review, and subscribe.
And if you have any questions, you can always DM us on Instagram at Off the Reservation Podcast.
And maybe we'll answer it on a future episode.
Now on with the show.
Well, so like growing up, like we had, at least, so you had what?
3 cousins.
Two cousins that were like 3 cousins that were
around
like
my
really
age,
around your age. But like by the time like you and I were around, like we had like
5 of us.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess like 5 in one school.
Yeah, like one time, but like all together there was a ton of you.
Yeah, but like well, by the time we got around, that the family was huge. It was like you like had so many cousins.
You couldn't get away with nothing.
Yeah, well, especially when they were all in the same school.
Yeah.
Like, I saw them doing this.
Well, you know what I think, like, so I had dated this one native girl, and she was talking about like how like when she was younger in high school and everything, like all her and her friends and all the natives that she hung out with, like they would all her parents had like a gremlin, and so they would go, and they lived out towards 98th in Albuquerque, and they'd all hang out in the gremlin and go driving around on the back roads, like out on the west side of Albuquerque, where there's just like dunes and everything all over the place, and they just had so much fun like driving around. And I was like, man, why didn't one of our like cousins, like there was like almost like a army of us, why didn't any of us have like a car that we could all just like trash together and like go drive around and do crazy stuff? I mean, What the most we did was like go over to the foothills and try to find a mythical person in the foothills who was gonna eat our souls or rip off our faces or something. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, I do remember that. What was that urban legend about the lantern dude in the foothills?
I think that's what it was. The lantern dude in the foothills. He would kill you or something.
Yeah.
Well, there was a period of time where the three of us were really hanging out a lot, and
You mean last week?
no, like when we were younger, man, we used to like cruise around. We used to go see movies all the time.
Yeah.
And it was just always nice to have like friends. I mean, like San Picasso, you were the one with the car, so like you were the one driving us everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you gonna bring up the basketball game?
Basketball game.
You don't remember the basketball game?
I don't know.
He even remembers the basketball game.
What basketball game?
So
wait. I don't know. Wait.
you don't remember this? So
I've got so many memories.
you and I were like, we want to go see this movie, and it was some movie that had just come out. I don't remember. It was a while back, and you and I were like, hey, Ben, son of Picasso, like take us to go see this movie. And he was like, yeah, we'll go see it if you can beat me in basketball. And you and I were like, there's two of us, there's one of him, we could do it, yeah, let's do it. And so here we go, we're playing hard, like, because we want to go see this movie, and you were gonna pay for it too.
I was gonna take you guys anyway to go see it.
Well, here's the thing, is that we play hard, and we're barely like even. You had scored so much more than us, and you're like, all right, I think it was like the first one to 20, and you ended up winning, and we were like all brokenhearted and everything. And you're like, it's okay. I'll go. I'll take you guys anyways. You guys got money? And we're like, yeah. And you're like, all right. What time is it? And it was like, we were all mad. And we were like, it started at 6:00 and it's 8:00 now. What the heck? And you were like, oh well, I'll take you guys again some other time. Tomorrow. And we're like, tomorrow's Monday. We gotta go to school. We can't go see a movie. Nobody's gonna let us go see a movie. I don't know if we ever saw it.
You owe me a movie, man.
We never did see that movie.
I mean, we probably did. You know what it probably was? It was probably Hostel.
Man, we were on a like a horror movie kick when we were kids.
Yeah.
I remember we had our cousins from Farmington coming down.
Yeah.
Like kudos to you, auntie, cousins, like
Auntie Chuck.
Yeah, like I mean, seemed like you guys were always coming down, and having been an adult and making that drive every now and then to go see my sister or just head up that way, it's like
It was rough.
It's a rough drive, so thank you for that. But like I remember they used to like come down, or maybe it was like more for
Christmas,
and Thanksgiving, and then we'd all go out and go see a movie together. And then we just kind of kept going with that, and like so we started seeing like I think we all went to go see Wolf Creek together.
Yeah, Wolf
and we
Creek.
was like, oh, that was fun. And then you, me, and son of Picasso, and then our other cousin Nate, we went to go see
and Kurt Patrick.
Oh, was Kurt with us?
Yeah.
To go see Hostel?
Yeah, to go see Hostel.
And we were like 14, 15.
And we sat up in the front too. That was too close for that intense of a movie.
And we were all horrified. Like, what did we just see?
What did I see?
And then we got back. I think our parents were all at the church.
Yeah.
Like, they were doing something at the church, and that's where we all getting dropped off.
Of course I would take you guys to see a movie like that.
And then take it to the church right after. And they
Now
were
go
like,
pray
"Whoa,
for your sins.
how was the movie?" We were all like,
It was okay.
it was interesting.
What did you see?
What did you see? I saw Hostel in it. I'm like, are you okay? And then I think it was, I don't know, one of us started crying and was like, I didn't like it.
We weren't ready for that.
We weren't ready for it. We weren't old enough. We weren't ready for it. It's too intense for young audiences.
That's a big brother's job.
I don't disagree. It had to happen sometime.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. We were talking about our childhood, and you were like, "You did this to me, and you did this to me," and you did this. And I was like, well, if the shoe was on the other foot and you were the big brother, you probably would have done those things to me too, huh?
I don't know. We'll never know. I mean, I didn't have anyone younger than me. Yeah, I didn't get to do anything like that. I mean, now I'm a dad, and I'm like, I gotta make sure this little dude doesn't end up all crazy or nothing.
It's a trip being a dad, because like there's a first few years where they just feel like your little brother, kind of like they're just.
Yeah, that's kind of where he's at right now,
Yeah.
and I'm like, don't be mean to him. Like, I need to make sure he brushes his teeth. And
Yeah, and it's not till they do stuff you have to discipline them to where you feel like a dad. You know what I mean? Where you're like,
well, you feel like a monster because now you're like, quit leaving your stuff all over the place. You need to pick up. And they're like, sorry.
yeah,
sorry.
and then you
like,
sound like your dad too, and you're like, you turned me into my dad. I'm old.
It's like that scene from Revenge of the is not Revenge. Is it Revenge of this Return? Revenge of the Sith, where Vader comes out. No, it's like he's like, no, you killed her. He's like, no, it's like I'm turning into my dad. No, it's like the realization that it's all come full circle.
Yeah.
Cyclical.
Oh man.
Well, I don't know. I mean, so like on that same side, like, I mean, being able to hang out with natives, because even though I wasn't related to, like, I was dating this girl and she hung out with her sister, and then they had native brothers and sisters. So like, I don't know if I want to name them or anything like that, but I mean,
Probably not.
we all used to hang out and we'd all drive over to like go play basketball, and I feel like basketball is like a staple sport for natives. And we'd go and we'd like hang out until like 2 a.m. playing basketball. And when natives are like super into something, man, they get rowdy. And so we had the police called on us once, and we're like standing there like playing basketball, and everyone's suddenly like, the police show up, and we're like, okay, be cool. They're like, Mal, do you have all your knives on you? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, okay, thank God. Why would you think I'm playing basketball with a bunch of knives on me? They're all in the car. I'm like, this is whatever. So we're standing there, and the police come over, and they're like,
They're in the car. I mean, I still have them. They're just not on
locked
me.
up.
like, I'm not gonna play basketball. I'm not trying to, play that intense.
Puncture something.
And so like, we're standing there, and the police officers come over, and they're like, hey, what's up, guys? And we're like, oh. And it was like one of those good encounters like you see with like police officers. And they're like, hey.
You should have dunked on him.
Well, they didn't play with us, but they were like, you guys are in a neighborhood here, and you guys are pretty loud, getting kind of rowdy. We just got a noise complaint. And like, you guys aren't like doing drugs. You guys aren't doing anything crazy. Just, maybe keep it down. Just so you guys know, the park closes at 10 o'clock. And I was like, what time is it? And they're like, it is 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're like,
Oh, jeez.
it's way past my bedtime.
You're like, oh.
You should have used your Jedi skills and been all, we are not the natives you are looking for.
But like, at the same time, none of us were like doing anything wrong, and we were like, yeah, this is fun, And I feel like that's how I would have been like a big brother, is like, hey, let's go stay out way past our bedtime. And
Well, I've
hopefully
noticed
not
that's
get in
also
trouble.
how it is just with other natives in general. It's like, it like, it's like you're a family, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and we talked about that before, like native hospitality, like that's a real thing, man.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, what are you guys doing now? You want to come in? You want to eat some food? It's like they always have something available.
It's
ready.
kind of like the safety in numbers type.
yeah.
But
like we
beyond
all
that.
recognize it. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Because you say that like you had like native friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like that's how it is. It's you know people, and it's like you take care of each other,
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also like along the same side, one of my friends, Chris, her name is Crystal, and we met in high school, and like, me and her, we were really close because in our not in high school, middle school, and she was one of like the few natives in middle school with me, and so like me and her, we automatically like latched onto each other, and we're like, you know, you're my friend, you're my sister, and she was like, you're my brother, and we like did all kinds of like cool stuff. Like we helped each other out in math in class, and you know, we were also like on the rowdier side in class, and so like we'd get our math homework done. The teacher would be like, all right, once you guys are done with your homework, you know, you guys can do whatever. And so like Crystal would bring in the Monster Energy drinks. So we'd all be like hopped up on like caffeine and taurine and everything else, like our eyes bugging out of our heads, doing math, and we'd get it done. And we'd be like, all right, we're done. And then she'd pull out the cards, and we'd just be sitting there for like another 45 minutes after we got done with our homework. And now we're sitting there all hopped up on Mountain Dew, screaming and slamming cards down, yelling BS at each other, you know, or like playing Egyptian rats and like old card games, like yelling at each other. And there was me, her, and like 4 other people, and we like created a little family in our middle school class, and it was so much fun. Like when I think about it, like that's my outline for like a fun friend group to be in, is like a group of people who like are so close knit, because like you know, you want to be able to relate to people in that way. And you know, now that I'm older, like I still talk to her, still listen to her, and you know, she needs anything, I got her back. If I need anything, she'd have my back. And
well, I've noticed it's not the same with other friends that you have, you know, like I've had other friends, you know, I've had like Anglo friends, and I will say it is kind of like that with Hispanic friends though, because they have a very big family. Like, you know, I guess it's just more of like the Anglo people, like their families aren't big, you know, because a lot of them like don't have like bigger family units.
Well, and then I think that's also too because Albuquerque is one of those places that like people move to from out of place, out of state, back east. So like they move here and it's just their own little family. They don't have their, you know, grandmothers and grandfathers live here.
Yeah, and if you're Hispanic or native,
then you grew up
you grew up here,
or at least a few generations grew up here.
There's more than
even our family isn't native New Mexican or native to Albuquerque. We've only been here for a generation.
A couple generations now.
And so I mean, but there's enough of us here that
like there's a difference. You know what I mean? There's a pretty big difference as far as like how the family unit goes, you know. And something I noticed, you know.
Not that there's anything wrong.
No. It's just it's different.
Yeah.
You know. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just y'all missed out.
I mean, like even now, like there's some native people at my work now, and I'm like I need to become friends with you guys, but like at the same time, like I don't work in the same area, so I'm like eventually we're gonna become friends. I know that, but
you're like, how I get there, I'm not sure.
How am I going to like bridge the departmental, you know, gap? And it's like departments, man. You know, they're trying to separate us. We gotta unite into the mighty fist.
Well, I think everybody can agree that
family's important.
Yeah.
And unity in numbers.
We're gonna need those numbers.
Trying to get those ranks up. No, you know, looking at, you know, Native family, and it's one of those things where it's like it's a blessing to have that many people in your corner. You know what I mean? Because you could have like family that you haven't talked to in years, and still, you know, they still have your back, you know. And that's what I've always enjoyed about having such a large family.
Definitely.
I mean, we talk about it almost every episode, like how Elliot helped us out during our art shows and everything, and and doing all that kind of things. This is free labor, you know. When it comes down to it, you got the numbers, and I don't know. What other stories do we have about like being native and family? It's like,
see, that's the thing, is it's just like it could be just a normal day like today, just getting stuff together, and like it's just so much fun because you're just with family. It's fun, and
Well, do you remember that time we went up to the mountains and Elliot, you had brought your mountain bike, and it was like a bunch of us.
I just told the kids that story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
See, they're funny. They're like
Thought I could
us.
fly.
We'll be driving down the road, and they're like, "Dad, tell me a story of your childhood." And I'll be like, "Oh man!" And
wait,
like,
they asked for those things?
I've told them so many stories that one day we were driving, and I was like, "They're like, Dad, tell me a story of your childhood." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Let me tell you the time these boys were picking on me, and I had to enroll in karate class taught by an old man, and." They jumped me. They were all dressed like skeletons. And my youngest was like, "What? They were dressed like skeletons?" And then I kept going, and like my oldest was like, "Dad, that's Karate Kid."
They caught you. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, the story goes, Elliot, you were riding your bike, and like I think you thought that the path like went straight, but it was like one of those zigzag down the hill kind of a things, and you ended up going off the path and like flew through the air and
Like-
crashed.
Launched it like ET style.
Yeah. I thought Steven Spielberg was filming you. went off the mountain.
All right, so
Well, and the thing that I remember most is your older sister Shauna, going, "Elliot, what are you doing?" You're like laying on the ground, like, "Oh."
this was in the middle of our Daredevil phase.
Yeah.
But let me clarify, because a lot of people know this story, or they think they know the story, and it's in fact just completely inaccurate. It always makes me out. It always makes me out to look like some sort of like, "Oh man, that guy was so brave jumping off that cliff," or "Man, that kid was so stupid. Why didn't he turn? Didn't he know it turned?" All right, so there was this path, and we were riding bikes, and I think we were getting ready to head out. So they were like, "Hey, get the bikes back to the car." I had this mountain bike. It was a mountain bike from Walmart. My parents bought me, and I was so excited because, first time I think they had ever really bought me a new bike. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
And,
Usually everything's hand me down.
Yeah, and not that it was new. Still, I rode it a lot. But the issue I was having is that it was a Walmart brand, so it wasn't the greatest, and the screws on the handlebars would sometimes get loose, and so if you've ever had to deal with that, you know that if that main screw in the middle gets loose, then your handlebar will move.
We'll rotate forward.
It will rotate forward and back. On top of that, I was having issues with my brakes. So after a day of riding around, and we were up in the mountain riding around having fun, something happened and it got loose. And I was coming down this hill on the path, and I was trying to get down to the parking lot. And if you can imagine it, it's a path coming down a hill.
And it's like a switchback. It like would go to
And then it would take a hard left. But if you were to go straight, obviously there was like a small not cliff, but like a drop off.
Yeah.
And it was like a wall of rocks basically leading down to the and that was like
and it was tiered. So
yeah, it was like a 5-foot drop, like from the top of the thing to the bottom. And I was going down this path, and all of a sudden my handlebars the screws like weren't working.
Oh, no.
And so I was panicking because I was like trying to reach the brake, and I couldn't get the brake. And then when I hit the brake, it was like not calibrated right. So when you squeezed it, there was nothing there.
See, so I was there, and I can attest to that because I remember seeing you hold on to the handles, and I remember seeing the handles go like this, and it looked like you were just getting into the pedaling, like you were like, it made it look like you were just like, okay, here I go, like I'm taking off.
No, man, I was panicking because I didn't know what I was gonna do.
I remember seeing your head down, and your head just like
I was looking down at the handlebars because I was like, what is going on? And before I knew it, I was at the edge of this cliff, and I just went shoom, and I just like face first right over the handlebar.
Oh, man.
And everybody came like, oh my gosh, Elliot, what are you doing? And people are like, oh man, why would you do that? Like I wanted to do that. Like I thought I could handle that much of a drop. Oh man. And so yeah, just to clarify, because there's some people who know that story, and
Wasn't that like on Thanksgiving Day? Didn't we like all go for a hike on Thanksgiving or something?
I don't remember. We
sometime
were
in
always
spring,
going
I
up.
think.
We were always going up the mountain just to walk around.
Yeah.
But man, I just got
It's like-
banged up pretty bad, and
It's like that Seinfeld episode when they buy the secondhand
Wheelchair.
wheelchair.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, like, people thought that, they thought that I was intentionally driving off the side of this thing, like I was some sort of daredevil. And I remember they made me feel bad, like, oh man, why would you do that? It's so dumb. I'm like,
You thought you could clear it.
I wasn't trying to. My bicycle was breaking, literally falling apart. And like they couldn't tell because by the time I got like my bike was just jacked up anyways.
We didn't know if it had broken from the fall or if it was before.
It was sabotage. It's equivalent
Trying to take you out.
Yeah, equivalent to someone cutting my brakes on a car. Oh man.
If anything, it was Ashley.
But
She was wily like that.
yeah, I'm actually surprised there wasn't a railing there because that was a pretty big drop.
Yeah.
For just
You might have had
sidewalk.
something there.
Now we have to petition to put the
There would have
railing
been
in.
people there like saying, no, he knew what he was doing.
I saw him.
I saw him.
I saw him. He said he was gonna. He said he was gonna fly. Told me he was gonna fly.
He told me, he looked at me, he said, watch this.
I saw it. I could see it in his eyes.
He thought he could make it.
But he went for it.
Man, we always had good times like that. When it just so happened to be that like church was always like we would all go hang out, and then it would be always after the fact. So
Yeah.
it was like involved in there some way and somehow.
Well, do you remember that time we were? It was 4th of July, and we had just like gotten done finishing off like all our fireworks over at the church, and I forget who it was. Somebody had lit one of those fireworks that spin in like super bright colors and everything, but they were like mildly defective, and we were in the parking lot, and so the church parking lot like hasn't been paved in like, I don't know, 30
years.
40 years.
Yeah.
And so it's all got the pebbles everywhere, it's all uneven and whatever. So somebody lit this firework, it starts spinning, and then it hits a rock, and the police car just starts driving by us, and the firework bounces off the ground, and all of a sudden it shoots off, and it hits and bounces off the hood of that police car.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh no. And then it goes out, and the police car, like the lights turn on, and he comes around and he pulls in, and he's like, hey, who threw that? And we were like, nobody threw that. Like, why would we be throwing fireworks at you? Like what do you think what do you think was going on here? We're in between two churches. We're a church group. Why would
Like people are barbecuing. There's like
He's like, who threw that? And I think our uncle, who was a firefighter at the time, went over and talked to him and was like, no, I'm a firefighter, pulled out his firefighter-ness and was like, yeah, no, we were just lighting off fireworks. And the police officer was like, all right, you guys got a warning. I'm going to keep my eye on you. And like went around the neighborhood, and we were like,
Keep your eye on us.
what is he talking about? Like,
I know you church groups like to get rowdy.
Do you remember that streaker?
yeah.
Who it was you and another guy went like chasing after because we were all outside, right? When
That
we
was
all,
that was
Yeah.
Kenneth.
was it fourth?
Yeah, no, Kenneth was
Kenneth?
chasing after
Was it
him.
Kenneth?
Yeah. People were
For
yelling,
the-
don't chase him.
We were all outside the front of the church.
Someone yelled, tackle him. And I thought, I'm not tackling a naked guy. No.
I ain't doing that.
The best thing in this
Get outta
situation
here.
is
He's
for him to
already
go home.
He's already doing it. Let him go that way.
Yeah, he's We were all just. I remember we were at the front of the church, and I think were we doing fireworks? Is that what it was?
Yeah, we were doing fireworks.
No, okay, so just to give context, so like the church that we went to butted up right next to the Air Force Base. And the Air Force Base would always do like a free giant fireworks show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
what
it was like while the grand finale was going on the base, like thousands of fireworks were going in the sky. Everybody was just like sitting there looking at it, like mouth all open, ooh. And then all of a sudden, this like naked white guy just comes running through on the street, and everybody's like, ooh, oh my gosh,
oh my eyes. Oh man.
oh, it was funny.
You know
That
that
was
guy had
crazy.
to have something against the church because like who would do that to like
There was like
a
nothing
church
else
group?
around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing else around there. It was like just the two churches there. So it's
Yeah.
like, where else was like, what was this guy expecting?
Like he like came outside from his apartment and was just like, what do I do?
It's been a nice night street.
Let's go run naked.
Don't get me wrong, I'd like to run
Tackle
around
him.
naked too, but no, I didn't touch it.
Oh
That
man,
was funny.
guys.
There goes George Washington.
Well, hey guys, we've got plenty of other stories. I like this episode. It's always good to look back and think of
All the times
reminiscing some old times.
we've been hurt.
Yeah. We should do an episode where we discuss like stunts that we used to try to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and some of them we succeeded, and some of them we didn't. I'm surprised. I've never broken any bones, and I'm pretty sure we probably should have. Some of the stuff we did
You jumped off the roof once.
a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, we thought we'd invite you into our look inside our family for just a few stories,
Yeah,
So if you guys have some fun stories, definitely leave a comment. We'd like to hear some
Yeah,
of
and-
your fun family stories you guys have.
And maybe we'll even, if you guys allow us, we'll even read them out on the show. I think that'd be kind of fun if we did something like that. Did a
Yeah, definitely.
story time.
Yeah, we'd love to interact with you guys. So thanks for listening. Thanks for
Yeah.
commenting. Make sure you check us out on
Instagram and Facebook, and we're all on all media platforms. I think
We're doing it, guys.
We're doing it. We're trying.
everywhere. Yeah.
All right, guys. This has been the episode, and so thank you guys for listening in with us. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. And prescribe. I keep messing it. Subscribe.
Prescribe.
Prescribe.
The doctor prescribes you subscribe to Off the Reservation.
Yes.
Yes.
It'll
And-
fix what's broken with you.
Maybe he'll fix this ending.
Oh man. Thanks guys. Have a good week.
Stay safe.